Then, let's start assembling. Both the head and the body are stuffed with cotton. They're the same size, fitting perfectly together. Because we've finished knitting, there are 30 stitches on the head. The body also has 30 stitches. When sewing, start by finding the slip stitch S's on the body. This thread is the last one we cut. Start counting from this thread. There's also a thread where the head slip stitch S's is. This is the back side. On the front side, it's right here. The slip stitch S's is at the back. We match slip stitch S's with slip stitch S's. Then, we hold it like this to sew. First, we insert the sewing needle. Then, slip stitch S's to slip stitch S's. Then, like this. In this upper spot and this lower spot. Insert the needle at this position. After the needle is inserted from the right, pull it out. This tightens it and joins them together. Then, we just sew like this. After inserting the needle below, match it with the stitch above. It's not just one hole. You can skip to stitches. You can sew like this as well. Skipping one stitch makes it harder to sew. Skipping to stitches makes it easier to sew. Insert the needle like this. Then insert it again from underneath. After inserting the needle, go straight up. Insert one stitch below and one stitch above. Then, pull out the sewing needle again. Then, insert the needle again. Pull it out again, to sew like this. Insert the needle below and pull it out above. When sewing, you can check this area. This is where we just sewed. If it looks unchanged, you can continue sewing. Then, sew in this order. If it protrudes and is difficult to sew, sew layer by layer. When it's hard to pull out, you can use pliers. Some areas are hard to pull out. After sewing, it looks like this. There won't be any large holes. If you spread it open and see large holes, that's not good. Check while sewing. It's basically matching. It won't fail to match. As you can see, I've matched them here. If it doesn't match, it's definitely because the stitch count is off. It'll only fail to match if it's wrong. Just sew it up like this. When sewing, just pull the thread tight. As long as there are no holes after sewing. After sewing, let's check again. For example, if there's a large hole here, we'll add 2 stitches here. Because sewing can never be perfect. Wherever there's a big hole, insert the needle there. No need to tie knots, just cut the thread directly. Insert the needle directly into the body on the last stitch. Anywhere without a thread can be inserted into the body. After pulling it out, cut the thread without tying knots. The main body part is sewn. Now on to sewing the ears. Flatten the ears, then we begin to sew. Start by placing them in these 2 spots. Find the 2 protruding cheek spots. If it's like this, there won't be any. These 2 spots are the protruding areas and should be placed at the front. Start stitching from the 3rd row and 4th row. Start by picking up a stitch. Then pull the thread out and sew the ear. After picking it out, insert it into the ear again. We start at the next stitch. Start sewing directly through here. The ear is sewn on, right? We just picked up a stitch here, right? Continue like this all the way down and insert the needle. Pick up a stitch from underneath here. The needle is here, then go straight down like this. Don't go outwards or inwards. If you go this way, the ear will be crooked. Just go straight down, insert the needle vertically. The direction of the needle is vertical. After inserting, pick up another stitch on the ear. After inserting the ear, it's still underneath here. Start by inserting here. Then pick up a stitch from the ear to the main body. This connects them together. Check if the head and tail are connected. Wherever there's a gap, add stitches. The ear is sewn on like this. After sewing, we insert the needle directly. It's best to sew the ears on. The other ear is sewn the same way. Try to sew in a straight line. It looks even from the front. Start stitching from the 4th stitch. After picking up the stitch, use the same method as before. After sewing the 1st stitch, continue downwards like this. We sew down from here. Just don't sew it crooked. You can check as you sew. Both ears are the same. When sewing, make sure to sew this side properly. If you don't sew this side properly, it will show like this. If there's a gap, add a stitch here. Pick a stitch from this small gap at the back. Sew it to the outside. It might protrude a bit. If there's any area not sewn, just sew it directly. No need to add extra thread. Just insert it into the ear and sew all around the edge. After sewing, just insert it into the body without tying knots. After inserting and pulling the thread, insert it elsewhere. This way, the thread will be secured inside. And then the ear is done. These are the ears. Next, sew the hands. Sew them like this, below the ears. Just pick a stitch like this. Pick a stitch and insert it. Then pick again and insert. Since the hands are small, be careful when sewing. After sewing, insert it inside and then cut the thread. The other hand is sewn the same way. The two hands should be symmetrical. Find the front and ensure symmetry. Be mindful while sewing. After sewing, insert it inside. Pull it out and insert it back. Cut the thread. Pull out the foot. For the feet, start stitching from this position. Also, start stitching from the fourth row here for the feet. Start stitching from this position for the hands. That's how you sew them on. No need to stuff the hands and feet with cotton. When sewing, make sure to sew carefully while observing, to avoid sewing crookedly. Make sure not to sew the foot crookedly. Insert the needle through the foot. After sewing, pull out the needle and then cut the thread. If you're worried it might come loose, you can insert a few more stitches. But normally, it won't come loose. Like ours, you can't even pull it off by tugging. The other leg follows the same method. It should be symmetrical with the other side. Find the appropriate spot to sew. The other foot should be sewn in the same row. This way, it won't be crooked. The foot can be placed here. Just follow this method for sewing. I won't demonstrate it here. This foot has been sewn. Next, I'll teach you how to make the nose. The nose is the same color as the feet. It's different here because of a mistake. Take out the red thread for the nose. The thread might appear redder in the video. It's the same color as the legs. First, make 4 chain stitches for the nose. Place the crochet hook behind this thread. Then rotate 360 degrees back to the original position. Hold at the intersection and hook the thread. Then hook it through the loop at the back, creating a chain stitch. Next, tighten it and continue to hook. Pull one up and one down to tighten. Next, hook the thread and make a chain stitch. Hook it through the loop at the back, creating a chain stitch. 2 chain stitches. Three chain stitches. 4 chain stitches. Then, starting from the second to last stitch, make 2 single crochets SC. The loop on the hook doesn't count as a stitch. Only the loops on the hook outside of it count as stitches. Combine the 2 strands, forming a V-shaped stitch. This is the first stitch. We start our first stitch here. The second stitch goes in here. Then the third stitch goes in here. And the fourth stitch goes in here. We start our stitching from the second stitch here. Starting the second stitch from here. Insert the needle and make 2 single crochets, SC. Because this is a chain stitch, we pick up a loop when crocheting. We just crocheted 2 single crochets, SC. For the last stitch, make 3 single crochets SC in this stitch. After crocheting 3 single crochets SC, turn back. We just crocheted 3 single crochets SC in this hole. Start the first stitch from here. Insert the needle, bring the yarn over, and make 1 single crochet SC. Find the last stitch and make an increased stitching. An increased stitching is to make 2 single crochets SC. After completing the increased stitching, make a slip stitch S's with the first stitch. For beginners, put a stitch marker on the first stitch. Then make a slip stitch S's. Pull the loop tight after making the stitch. After tightening, it will lay flat. Then make a chain stitch. For the second round, make 1 single crochet SC and 1 increased stitching. Start from here. 1 single crochet SC and 1 increased stitching are done. Repeat this a total of 4 times and continue to crochet the remaining part. After finishing, find the first slip stitch S's. There are a total of 4 sets. If there are extra stitches after 4 sets, then there's a mistake. A total of 12 stitches are crocheted. After the slip stitch S's, make a chain stitch and cut the yarn short. Cut it short and pull the yarn out. After that, you can start crocheting the nostrils. Use the body color yarn for crocheting. First, pick up the yarn tail from the opposite direction. Hide the yarn tail so that it's easier to stick. Cut off the excess yarn tail. Take about 20 centimeters of skin-colored yarn. Thread the needle and sew to lines here. Try to sew closer to the middle. Sew 1 line here and 1 line here, avoiding crooked stitches. As you can see, we've sewn 1 line here. Another one is sewn here, and that's it. You can start sewing from anywhere. No need to knot the thread. After trimming, just glue it flat. The right side is sewn as long as the left. Both nostrils are the same length. The light-colored threads are all the same length. Trim the threads without knotting them. Knots will cause bulging. Gluing won't be even. First, glue the mouth on. You can also sew it for better stability. Next, let's teach how to sew the eyebrows and belly button. For the eyes, they should be glued on. The nose can be glued or sewn. Ears and hands shouldn't be glued. They might fall off easily. Take out a strand of brown thread and separate it. Separate and take one strand to sew the belly button. Use your thumb to pull one strand. Pull it out like this. Use this one strand to sew the eye. Tie a knot behind the thread. The thread is thin, so it might come loose without a knot. Insert the needle from behind. Let's start by gluing the eyes first. Otherwise, it's hard to find the eyebrows position. Compare it here, on the line above the mouth. Align it with the line above the mouth. The eyes should be on both sides of the nose. You can use this sewing needle to align it like this. This position should be fine. Beginners can mark this spot with a pen. Make a black dot with a pen. It's okay, because you'll be gluing it on later. I'm experienced, so I don't need to. You can glue it upwards too. Press it firmly. If the glue oozes out, you can use tweezers to remove it. Remove it while it's still hot. Don't wait for it to cool. It's not above the nose because the eyes would be too close. It would look cross-eyed. Too far apart wouldn't look good either. Like this, it's just right. The other eye is done the same way. You can use a lighter to melt hot glue. If you have a glue gun, that's better. Using a lighter might make it black easily. Liquid glue can also be used. If the glue spills out, just tweeze it off. Don't wait until it's too hard from cooling, it won't look good. The eyes are glued on now. For the eyebrows, they're one space above the eyes. Starting one space above, make a slanted stitch. As for the belly button, just make a cross. Then, insert the needle from here. Insert the needle back into the side. Find the symmetric point on both sides. The eyebrow is done on the side. 2 stitches here, 2 stitches here. A total of 2 stitches slanting this way. Same on the other side. Start inserting the needle from here. A pair of eyebrows is done. Don't pull too tight. One side tight, one side loose, for asymmetry. After it's done, insert from one side and come out from the other. No need for knots, just cut it off. Use thicker thread to sew the belly button, knots are needed. Find the center of the nose and come down. Find a spot from here. Make a cross. Insert the needle from here and come out from the other side. That's enough for the cross. Insert again from here. The shape is formed. This area will reveal the black thread. Just press it with your fingers to make it go in. That's the end of the pig tutorial. You can apply blush or even lipstick. You can apply blush or lipstick. You can use a makeup brush or a cotton swab. Use the kind of cotton swab used for cleaning ears. For lipstick, apply some on your hand first, and then use a cotton swab to apply it to the pig's face. Don't apply directly to the face. It won't look good if it's too red. Then, just apply it like this. Test the color on your hand first. Don't apply too much at once. Apply in circular motions. You can also apply some to the ears. You can also apply a little to the hands. It looks better this way. The pig is now complete. Let's make a hook. Insert the needle from the top of the head. Then, hook the thread and bring it over. Place the thread end below the crochet hook. Press with your hand and make 10 chain stitches. After making 10 chain stitches, hook back with slip stitch S's. Now, this length is what we want. You can keep crocheting until you reach the desired length. After crocheting, check the length by folding it back. Ten chain stitches are this long. Then, you can attach it to the keychain. This keychain opens like this. You can thread it through. Insert the needle into the previous spot and hook the thread. There are 2 loops on the crochet hook. Hook the front loop over the back loop. Then, make a chain stitch. You can then cut the thread. Then pull the thread out. You can tie these 2 ends together. After tying the knot, it won't unravel. You can tuck this thread inside. Use the crochet hook to tuck it inside. Then, you can cut it off.